You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu. Polo and Tell, is that you?
Mic check. Mic check waifu. Materura Uchiha. Is that you?
So we sticking with that. We sticking with that one.
We are. We have to. This is the redo of episode 96 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Loot Complex. Make sure y'all go to lootcomplex.com. The drops has been spectacular over there at lootcomplex.com. When y'all do shop lootcomplex.com, make sure you use the offer code Waifu, or you can find it in your nearest Hot Topic or Spencer's to get some Loot Complex merch. I also want to thank our Patreon producers, Monique Williams, Connor, Explicitly, Treesus, and Aaron Brown. Thank y'all so much for supporting this podcast and a bunch of other podcasts on top of it. It means so very much to us. We couldn't do this without y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all. All of our Patreon supporters. We just dropped episode 49 of the After Story podcast on our Patreon. So if you are a Patreon supporter, make sure you go to patreon.com/miccheckwaifu. Check out our bonus podcast, The After Story. Real good episode.
Was a real good episode. We had a good talk. Found out your favorite Floridian is a step closer to moving out of Florida.
That one's named H-Town. So episode 49 of the After Story is up and kicking. We had to address the elephant in the room. Obviously, there was no episode last week, which was so fucking weird for us and everybody on the timeline, because we don't ever miss a week, ever, like never, since we started the podcast. So sorry about that. For some reason, a little behind the scenes, I should have reset my mixer before we recorded, because it was on all night. And the things we were doing with the mixer kind of overloaded it, because we did like a nice sub versus dub game that maybe we'll bring back in another episode, but we got to let that rest for a couple of weeks before we go back into that. It was a great topic that y'all would never hear, which is upsetting, because it was bound to be one of our favorite episodes because of that game we had. It was quite the disappointment. I've never been more upset. Like, it could have been any other episode, I wouldn't have cared. But this one, it hurt. But we're here now, and we're here to talk about some anime. We watched a lot of good stuff. This season is so far, it's not as aggressive as last season was, obviously. I don't feel as overwhelmed as I did last season. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like definitely got some sleepers in this season that we weren't expecting. But you're right. Like, I thought it was going to be some stuff that was going to really blow me back, that was supposed to blow me back. But it's more, I feel like more like the ones that we weren't expecting are hitting really hard.
Yeah. Or
harder than we expected.
Yeah. So some not so much. I want to start off with one that I watched the first 2 episodes of. I talked about it a little bit last week, and I'm going to rehash it here because I feel it's necessary. The timeline really overhyped this show for us, or for me personally, and for you too. But I think I'm the only one that watched it, and that's Eden Zero. That shit, man. When I tell you it is fucking fairy tale through and through, that shit is fairy tale too, man. And it just don't. Right now, it's not feeling good. It's not feeling good at all.
So, funny story about that is, I was recording with Scuba Steve and the Watchers last night, and what I found out is that it's actually supposed to be a prequel to Fairy Tale. And to me, in my mind, that just made it that much worse. And I was like, why do I dare? Why would I even think about putting my mind to this stuff?
Yeah, no, man. I can understand how that is. Yikes. That makes it even worse. Because it's so samey to Fairy Tale, like with the female character being the blonde haired chick with the big boobs.
Wearing the same exact clothes.
Wearing the same exact fucking clothes. Happy the cat being the same exact cat. And you got the main character whose goal is to make as many friends as possible. That shit just I don't know where it gets good. It looks kind of cool when they fight a little bit.
The show is probably his name, because the name actually sounds pretty dope. Like,
yeah, no, it's a great name.
Show.
It's a great name. It's a fantastic name. You're right about that. But is it? Oof. It's something else. And by something else, I mean it's just not interesting at all. Not interesting in the slightest. I only watched the first 2 episodes because that's all I got. I watched it on the site that shall not be named. But yeah, it's not worth the time. But I think I'm gonna watch a few more episodes just cause. I'm not gonna talk about it unless something comes up that is worth talking about. I'm not gonna talk about it, but if something does come up that's worth talking about, then I will. What about you, Tel? Anything good, bad, indifferent?
I actually don't have anything like bad right now, other than the fact that you don't read My Hero yet. But at some point, if you ever decide to read it, bruh. But I want to talk about Shadow's House.
Okay.
Which is, like I said, it's a slice of life. And it's such a like innocent, sweet, wholesome kind of thing. But in the tags, it says it is a horror mystery slice of life. And you kind of see where that horror kind of comes into place this time. And it's not big moments. One of the shadows, Kate, which is our main character, Shadow, she gets mad and like kind of explodes, right? So the shadows emit like this soot, like ash, basically, when they get mad or over emotional. And you can see that a lot of how the shadows react is tied to emotion. So she got so mad that there was soot on the ceiling that couldn't be removed. It was like a stone structure almost, right? And it was spiky and jagged. And the living doll, Elmiko, tries to like clean it off the ceiling because that's her job. Her job is essentially clean up the soot that Kate creates. What's
this about again?
It's a slice of life.
Oh, it's just a normal slice of life.
There's no real structure to it yet, but I can see where it's going.
And you said last week, you said it was it's something about shadows. What was that again?
Yeah, so it's called Shadow's House. And how it begins basically is the main character, Kate, is a shadow. Okay. She's just pitch black. She wears clothes. She makes a living doll who serves all of her needs. Her living doll serves her. Okay, that's where I wanted to refresh that. But basically this week they show those horror contents. And one of the things that was said that really caught my eye was that she comes across this other shadow, and her living doll, or what seems like a human to us, comes up. And as the shadow is talking, because the shadows don't have a face that you can see, the human or living doll is mimicking everything she's doing. So like you see them kind of moving in sync and talking. And she says that the living dolls are not allowed to speak in front of the shadows, but Elmiko does on accident. And she knows this rule because she wasn't taught that rule. And she says, this little transgression will be overseen. You're lucky it was me and not grandfather. And that goes to show there is some kind of overarching, like something wrong here, right? Like these living dolls don't have true
free will.
Yeah. Even though some of them seem very happy to be there. I'm interested to see like if it actually gets super dark or what's going to happen. But I feel like that was this first step into like, oh, this is super fun, cute and playful to, oh, this is super fun, cute and playful. But wait, there's a twist. There's some shit that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see it though. Cause it is like the art style to me is very artsy, beautiful. I love the closure of the characters. I'm just super interested in it.
One of the shows for me, like speaking of the slice of life tag, one of the shows that's more interesting to me as a slice of life is this Haji Hero. After being rejected, I shaved and took in a high school runaway. I talked about it last week, but for those of you that don't know, it's about a 27-year-old salaryman who comes home from after being essentially rejected by his work crush. Comes home drunk and sees this girl sitting under a lamppost who's essentially homeless. She has nowhere to go. He meets with her. He's drunk. He's like, yo, I can't just leave this girl, under this lamppost homeless after I saw her because I'm a good fucking guy.
Yeah.
He takes her in and come to find out that she's like, she ran away from home. And she tried to pay for, him for her living with him by sexual services, and he's like not down for that shit. So essentially it's a story about these two that came together through unfortunate circumstances, and he's basically given her a place to live until she decides to go back home. But what he's doing is he's teaching her the value of her life, essentially, like trying to show her how much her life is actually worth, because she treats it like complete and utter shit. Like she would try to sleep with whoever she can just to pay for, whatever she can to survive. And it's a real fucking adorable story because the main character is fucking incredible. Like he's one of those, I'm gonna say whatever main characters that is super, like, just super cool. Not like this what's the word I'm looking for? This cagey main character that you don't want to deal with or don't want to talk to for too long, and who don't understand women, who don't understand like how life works. He's right. He's the adult that we all are, right? Like, and it's I like it a lot, man. I like this story a lot. I know I gotta
an actual adult in the show,
Exactly. I got a feeling that it's gonna end up being some them falling in love with each other, which still don't sit right with me because she's 17, he's 27, but the age of consent in Japan is like 16 or some ridiculous shit like that. Either way, cultural differences aside, it still feels weird to me with him being 10 years older. But I'm still interested to see where it's gonna go because I like it a lot. I like his growth already. Like he's experiencing some situations to where after being rejected by his work crush, she asks him out for dinner in the second episode, and they go to dinner and she basically asks, hey, are you like seeing somebody? He's like, well, why would you give a fuck? I mean, he almost says exactly that. Like, why would you care? Because you rejected me. So why are you asking me these questions? She's like, well, because I literally just talked to you 2 days ago, and for you to be over me that quickly, it kind of made me feel something. And it's like, yeah, that's not how that works.
I'm not going to go too far into this topic, but it almost reminds me of that narcissist conversation we had yesterday.
Oh yeah, the after story, yeah. And it does kind of, but it was just because his clothes was ironed, which was unusual for him. He shaved daily, which was also unusual for him. He shaved every other day. His clothes was never really ironed, but it's because the teenage girl was at his house doing chores basically to pay for her stay at his place. So it's a nice little dynamic in which like his best friend at work is like, yo, you got to be careful, man. You might end up falling in love with this girl. And he's just like, nah, I'm not. No way. I only like older women with big titties is what he says. And it's legit a great main character. He might be in my top 10 main characters by the end of this, hopefully.
Really?
He's that good. He's that good.
Not as good as Hachiman though.
No, not yet.
Let me know if he gets there.
I will.
I am shook in that moment for it.
Hachiman's GOAT.
So I know you want to talk about, well, I don't know if you're ready to talk about it yet, but I know you want to talk about Seven Knights Revolution.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's underappraised, like people are not giving it the love it deserves.
It has a 61 on AniList. Way better than a 61.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the animation isn't that great. There's very stiff like movements when it comes to their fighting, but it's a beautiful show. Like it looks good. It kind of slightly has this art style of Jabba's reincarnation. Not as good, but it kind of slightly has that like drawn on the page kind of look, which looks sweet. The story is super intriguing. Like I don't understand what's going on with these what they call them.
Physis.
Yeah, Physis. I don't understand what's going on with that in this world in general yet, but I don't think we're supposed to because this world is already established. And
we'll learn as the character kind of develops.
We learn as the character learns. So it's one of those situations to where the main character learns something and it gets passed down to us through that way, because the character is like essentially a country bumpkin going to school in this new night school or whatever it's called. But essentially, for those of you that don't know, it's about, what is it? How can you describe this? It's
I would say, think of it like almost like a regular magical high school, but
yes,
not quite that same. It's the kids or the people in this world gain powers through past heroes from a goddess. The goddess will grant them their powers that way. And
it's almost like Shaman King.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. But you talk to the hero you that possesses you, and that's how you gain your power. I think in this latest episode we got a cool concept too, and I was like,
"This is episode 3."
Yeah, it propelled a little bit better for me. Made me feel as if this is like definitely better than the 61.
Right.
Yeah, I'm surprised by season 1. I didn't even know that was the ranking until you just said that. I had to look at it. I was like, wow, really? Did you want to talk about this episode a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it. So this episode, our main character is essentially a guy who gets a hold of a hero who's like this super mysterious yet super strong hero that a few people know about so far. Like, a few people know about this hero, but not everybody does. And he's like coming to terms with it. He's new to the school, who basically teaches them how to use their hero powers, which that part I kind of don't understand, because not everybody have these contracts with these heroes, but yet they go to this hero school. So that's a little confusing, because only 7 people has it?
Well, no, what they established that many people have heroes, but not everyone has the strongest ones, right? Like it's all based on your connection. And the reason he is special is because of how he formed his connection without any prior training. That's
right. You're right. Okay, so they did establish that. I just forgot. But I mean, it's so cool to see him, the main character, Nemo, come to terms with his power more and more each episode. I feel like next episode might get to the shit a little bit when it comes to his ability, because he's essentially dreaming of a event, it looks like, that kind of like determines on what his hero is and who he is and what he's about. And what's her name? The president of the school, Freya. She seems to know a little bit more about his power than he does too. That's why she's keeping a close eye on him. But the show is super interesting, man.
What I think, the reason I like Nemo is because I think this might be a similar reason for you too. I'm not exactly sure. But the reason I like the main character in the show is because he challenges what they already have set as like a status quo.
Facts.
So they're like, we have, like in this episode, one of the 7 knights, who actually we found out is a prince of another country. His name is Jave, right? Mm-hmm. Basically, we find out that, he feels inadequate, because not even necessarily inadequate, but he does have a lot of pressure on him to be the best, because he's a prince. As soon as he got this power, everyone's like, save us. And he's now with the 7 knights, and he's constantly worried about being a burden to them, and certain little things can set that off. And he's like putting in his power, and we find out that when you use too much power or overcompensate with the power, that you can be possessed by it. Not necessarily your spirit or your hero, but you actually get possessed by the power itself, and it consumes you, right? And he's stuck in this like meat suit of like his overall power. And they start trying to fight it, and their thinking in their mind is that when this happens to people, we don't have a choice but to kill them, right?
Yep.
And I'm just like, damn, they took it to 100 real quick.
And they established that like early in the show, like, yo, if we can't save everybody. We're willing to risk our own life to save more people. But Nemo's not having that shit. He's like, yo,
like, let's save every life.
Right.
You know, so Jive's job is to save everyone's life, but his life isn't supposed to matter to him, and he doesn't vibe with that. And he gave that same energy in the beginning.
True.
When Feria or Freya, when she was fighting and was about to sacrifice her life, he was like not really with it. And that's why I think he got his specific spirit, is because his specific heroes, because he had that same energy. You know, he doesn't want to sacrifice anybody.
Right.
And the weird thing is that I think actually, like, because his specific spirit's power doesn't seem particularly strong. It just seems more like helpful.
Right.
And handy.
Handy. I see what you did there.
I use one hand.
True.
But you know, I do like it, because it seems that the more his conviction grows, the more, like, because we saw that he was basically almost fully suited up.
Right.
At the end of this episode. So that was a cool concept to me, that like he's showing more conviction, so he's getting more of that power kind of leaking and seeping through.
Yeah. This show is going to fall under the same category as Asterisk War. You know, what's your shit called?
Chivalry of Fell
Night, Irregular High School. It's going to fall in that category, to where those shows always get these mid-tier ratings. And I'm not saying the word mid, I'm saying mid-tier, like 60s, early, like high 70s. They always get those ratings and fall in these categories that don't get viewed too often, but are like really good shows. And
they deserve more.
There are some trash in that too, like that Dragon Nar Academy shit that I watched that I talked about a couple of weeks ago. That shit's awful. There are some trash like that, but a lot of these are severely slept on, and that's going to lead to the first, I guess, Twitter question. It kind of goes hand in hand with two questions, and I'm gonna just start off with this one first. This one comes from her ad name is at Crunk Cone or Crunk K1, however, whichever way that's said. I'm probably getting that wrong, but she says that what anime genre do you think is underrated, and which do you think is overrated? I don't even know what to call this genre, because it's not even anything specific, but this type of anime.
It's called Henshin.
Oh, okay. There is a name for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that I feel like is one of the most underrated genres for sure.
I am going to wholeheartedly agree with you, because I would like more series like this that are actually really good. I would love a season 2 to Chivalry of Fell Night. I would love more of Asterisk War. Mm-hmm. I need to know what happens in the end. I need to know if he finds his sister and all that stuff. Right. I want more.
Right.
So yeah, I agree that this genre is very slept on, and I don't even think people even know what that name is.
Me either. That's the first time I haven't heard it being called.
I literally just found it, because it literally, if you scroll down, Henshin prominently features characters or costume transformations with often great special abilities.
Yeah, that's exactly that category. And like it kind of follows the same trope. They go to a school and where they try their best to exceed, or and with a little bit of romance in it. Like, yeah. I like it, man.
The funny thing is, we get so many isekais every season.
Yeah.
That like this trope isn't bad. It just needs, I guess, it needs that one that really stands out. And that's I guess that's a regular high school.
Yep.
But it needs more of them of that quality that stand out and kind of make this really pop.
Yeah. Yeah, because not a lot of them do. You could tell, because that genre specifically, even what's that? The Fruit of Verazia that I talked about a few weeks ago. That's another one of those. Mm-hmm. I feel like those get I don't know, they get categorized poorly because of, I guess, sometimes, or a lot of the times, it features like harem-esque shit, and not a lot of people like harem.
Actually, didn't we just watch one too that was in this category? It was the guy who had to fight. They were the guy and the girl who were fighting against each other. This is another one of those.
Which one is that?
The wizard mage lady, and she had the tattoo. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. Oh,
You do know what I'm talking about because they were you really liked it. You was rocking with it hard. I can't think of the name. He had the swords, one of them that reflected the magic power, and she was from another kingdom when they would meet in a neutral city.
That's right. Oh fuck, what is it called?
It's the same kind of like setup is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And they need to these need to hit more. That's all I'm saying. They need to have one with like
but they do
Matt Mercer and like a bunch of like really dope voice actors or something.
They do hit
to like really make it pop.
They do hit. The problem is it's just
low profile.
Yeah, so low profile. Super underrated genre. Overrated genre obviously is going to be the typical shonen-esque like motherfucking Eden Zero, Fairy Tail, even One Piece. Those are super overrated. I would say that Slice of Life is overrated, but it's not. I think it's properly rated. Slice of Life get a lot of love. Yeah, it definitely gets a lot of love. It's my favorite genre.
Yeah, I also think that Slice of Life, people need to take in consideration that there are other types of Slice of Life. It doesn't always have to be like romance kind of Slice of Life. Like
exactly.
The Shadow House Slice of Life to me is really hitting, and it's because it's like a horror-esque slice of life.
But that's like, and what you describing to me is more supernatural, right? Because like
you got to watch it though, because it really is very like day-to-day stuff.
But it's a shadow, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's supernatural.
You got to watch it.
Okay, all right, you're right. I did not see it. What else is genre is overrated?
I would say, I mean, we said shonen, but I guess a lot of it to me would just be more like battle shonen, because I mean, shonen isn't specifically always going to be battle.
That's true.
But the battle shonen category to me is just super saturated. I mean, it's not to say that the ones that come out that are really good aren't really good. Like obviously JJK is a masterpiece so far. Mm-hmm. Even My Hero Academia is really good. Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. I like them, but there are so many of them that it's hard to say that it's not an oversaturated and sometimes overrated category in general.
Facts, like the Borutos and shit that don't.
Yeah, they could have held that.
Yeah, facts. Underrated horror. It could be, but it's not really much.
There's not a lot of really good horror.
Yeah.
Like that damn skyscraper shit was.
Boy, yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I think Supernatural is slept on, like the Steins Gate.
I love Supernatural. I love scientific stuff. Yeah, Steins Gate. I wish I had seen it sooner.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I love the show so much. Love it too much. All right. Thanks for that question. We appreciate you so much for asking. That's the first time she's asked a question, so
we appreciate you.
We appreciate you so very much. Let's go to some more questions, shall we? But before we go into another question, though, another show that I gotta talk about that Nagatoro shit, man. Apparently, I found this out on the timeline that manga is extremely popular and people love the show.
The one where you said like the bully girl?
Yeah, people love the manga, but the show is like not doing so well. And I get I don't like this whole, like I said this last week on 96, we recorded proper. It's about this girl who's essentially underclassman to this second year who is I guess you can call him a nerd. He's drawing his own manga. He's trying to do something with that. Just living his own life, just minding his own goddamn business. And he meets this first year who come across his manga and begins to tease him aggressively tease this guy. And it's the worst. Like, it's just, she hits him. She fucking pushes him, like all kinds of just shit, like where he's just like, yo, I'm chilling, like leave me, like why are you bothering me? Like it, and you could tell it's one of those situations to where you remember being in the 5th grade, having a crush on a really pretty girl in the 5th grade, and you would do some mean shit to her. Like it's that kind of show. And I mean, I get it. You don't really see that much in shows. To be honest, when I was a little kid, I think I was in the third grade. I'll never forget it. There was this girl that I did like that I used to like say mean stuff to. Like, and it wasn't because it was because I liked her. And that's all this is. And it's so fucking just, it's a terrible show, man. It's not, I guess I wouldn't say terrible because I'm interested in watching it, but I just can't stand her as a character. Like, she's the worst character.
I think we actually did talk about this a little bit, and it's the reason why you said you don't want to really like read too much manga, because the delivery is different.
Yes.
And you could read a manga and absolutely love it, but the anime will deliver it different. And the anime can deliver some things really well. Like I'll talk about it later when we get to the My Hero Academia part, where like the manga may drop the ball, but the manga may deliver it better sometimes because of how short, clean, and concise it can be versus like how drawn out the anime has to be to kind of keep certain parallels and lines going. So, I mean, I really agree with that. That's probably why the manga is doing better, because it doesn't seem so drawn out and so I guess malicious even.
Yeah, it's very, and it's like the main character, she's so fucking annoying, dude. She's just, just one of those characters I just hate.
Your least favorites.
Yeah. There is we have to talk about Tokyo Revengers, man.
Oh yeah, I thought we was gonna talk about that at the end of the episode with spoilers.
Oh, you wanna go full spoilers? We can.
Yeah, let's do that. Because Tokyo Revengers, I feel like it's gonna be our week to week, one of our week to weeks, alongside possibly looking like Vivy.
That shit is crazy, man. Okay, all right, you're right.
Y'all know Polo and my brother, we be reading each other's minds sometimes.
That shit's so good. Okay, let's go to some more questions here then before we go to break and start spoiling some shit. All right, we got some good questions here as always. Whenever we throw out the flyer, shout out to _ Rob J. He says, "Why solo leveling is so good? I got 10 chapters left before I'm completely caught up." Man, who you telling?
Wait till you catch up to the latest chapters,
bro. Oh, Jinwoo, boy.
The beginning of the month, we doing we gonna do the talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We supposed to do that once a month where we talk about, the
current
solo leveling, and it's time.
So
that man is a monster, bro.
So I brought up that question to also bring up it's gonna be shit. Let me see if I can find his ad real quick. I brought up solo leveling, his Rob J questions first because I wanted to go to the homie Lobo at Lobo5, a bunch of numbers. He's barely on Twitter, but he says he never writes in Twitter, but he had to share. He had to ask something of us, and I'm going to it specifically. He says, here it is. He says, "I've been listening to you guys for a while now, and this is the first time of me leaving a comment. I love whenever you guys start reading solo leveling, but y'all need to read Overgeared. It's so good. And it's the same artist as solo leveling, which is super clear. Like
we can definitely tell.
You can definitely tell. It's just beautiful.
It's fun.
So he gave us the link so we can read it. We only read 3 chapters so far, just to dip our toe in it. But I did want to talk about that before we moved on to more questions. What did you think about the first 3 chapters of Overgeared? Super samey-esque. Like,
yes, but also like here's what it does extremely different.
Yes. I knew he was going to get into that shit.
He doesn't seem battle oriented at all, right?
Yes.
Like he did fight, and like I thought the way they portrayed it initially in like those first few chapters is almost like he was talking to like another character, but it was an NPC. And I do really like the whole build of this, right? Because this is an actual game. This isn't like they're they're like this world is taken over by this thing. This is an actual game, and it seems like real life currency is affected a lot by this actual game. And I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too. I like the fact that the main character, well, I don't like the fact. I think it's interesting that the main character is super addicted to this game. He blows a bunch of fucking money. Like, it's super hyper realistic when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I think that's super interesting because he's known to be a super average dude, below average worker who's just earning money just so he can pay for the game. But he comes across this quest that it quote unquote essentially stumbles upon, that it leads to this super rare item, which is a class change. And he tries to he recovers this quest item, and the quest gets upgraded to a double S tier quest, which means that it's an extremely hard quest now. And the only way he can escape is if he can find a way to beat all the people. I don't want to go. I don't want to spoil that too much because that shit was fucking hilarious when I read it.
Yeah, that first chapter though, bro. Like, it kind of shows him like they're getting ready to fight this super overpowered boss, and like he walks in and he just completely cloaked out, and they're like, "Oh, we can't tell what kind of armor he has. He must be a newbie."
Yep.
Like clearly he can make dope stuff. Like he clearly made a cloak that can block any kind of perception on him, and
or maybe his level was just really low because you saw what happened.
That's true too. But he goes in and he just starts mining. And the boss is like blasting him, blasting his ass though, and he's just standing there. They're like, he's unscathed. Oh, that's because it's the armor's it's the item's effect.
Yep. And then it just goes right back to
mining minerals.
Yeah,
in the boss level because it don't even matter.
Yeah, because he said that's the only way for him to get that mineral is if that boss is there. It's super interesting. Essentially, he's a blacksmith. I'm not going to say much more than that. Read it with us. We're probably going to talk about this a lot more when we read a little bit further. But it's super interesting, man. Overgeared.
I agree.
You can find it on Reaper Scans. I'm definitely going to keep reading it because I do want to see what the fuck this is going to be. Super intriguing.
What is it, 70 chapters too?
Yep. It's only 70 chapters right now, so it's not too hard of a read. Knowing me, I'll probably blow through that in like a day.
Polo stuff.
But I'm glad you gave us that, Lobo. I appreciate it, man. That's a good one. That was a good recommendation. We're going to continue to talk about that. I'm probably going to talk about it more next week when I read some more chapters.
How far you want to go? You want to go halfway through it? Hit, 35, 40?
Let's do 35.
Bet.
I'm down with that. All right. So back to the questions. And _Rob J says, not a question, but Netflix is really dropping the ball on anime as of late. The way they did House Husband joint was funny, but I couldn't get past the weird animation.
Hear me out. Yes, that animation shit is kind of wild, but it's really, really funny. The Way of a House Husband is the funniest shit I've watched or read, because I read the whole manga. All the way caught up on it, and bro, that shit is hilarious. Like Tatsu is a god, bro. And it's like look, and it might be funny to me because I'm about to be a house husband. But also, like, dude is a Yakuza boss. And like he's Tatsu the Immortal, and like everyone knows him as this, and he's working super hard to get into like the ladies' neighborhood group. Talking about we going out collecting your neighborhood funds because we plant the trees and cut the grass and shit like that for the entire neighborhood. He pulled up on the mafia and like, hey yo, look, it's time to collect or pay your dues. And they was like, do you know where you are? He's like, yeah, I know where I am. Do y'all know where y'all at? We the ones who cut the grass and trimming every short and make sure that there's no dog poop in front of your yard. And they was like, looked at him and looked over and was like, hey, yo, you got 500 yen? Let's give him the money. I'm like, yes, bro.
Run them pockets.
I'm like, I love this shit, bro. It's honestly, because of how funny it is, I would be willing, like, I'd be willing to give that shit a 10 because I feel like, and I'm not saying like if it was just pure comedy, like it's pure entertainment, bro.
So it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
The manga, I'd be willing to give like a high key a 10 because of, like, the artwork is amazing. The anime, because of how it's done, and you'll see, it's basically like they took the chapters out of the manga and then colored them. But it still has motion, like some motion. Like the motion is like he's putting money into the vending machine and then he moves, but like you don't see him moving. You see money in the vending machine. Next scene is his arm is back and then he turns. I see. That's the next thing. But it's really not that bad when you realize that it's literally just comedy. It's fucking comedy gold.
I got you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. I'm down to watch that. At SSKOTP, he hit us up and says, with 2 questions. He says, damn, do I want to? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Slight spoilers for AOT. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Would you activate the rumbling?
Would I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%.
Would I activate the rumbling?
The screen juice is the worst.
Yes. Because there's no other way. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I will say the one thing is about that is, yes, I would activate the rumbling, but I do think that there were different ways to go about this so that it didn't turn out like how it did. Like, I don't mind necessarily the characters who remained. What I do mind is how they were perceived by the world after what you did.
That's exactly
and how you could have altered that a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it.
Don't we got to re-record like our conversation about that too?
Yeah, because I don't think we actually ever really went in on AOT because that chapter didn't go out, or that that episode didn't go out.
Okay, all right. So second half of the show, stick around. We'll talk our full thoughts on the AOT final chapter like we did last week, but we will do it this week again. Okay, and then SSKOTP also asked, what anime would you want to be a guest on the podcast? What a fucking great question. What anime character would you want to be a guest on the podcast?
You first. Anime character shit.
I think we'll have an interesting conversation with oh fuck. Dude, this is hard, man. That's a good question.
I have an idea.
I think we'll have a good conversation with Ocarine.
I thought you was gonna say that.
Yeah, from Skyscape.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta refresh this real quick. Cause the character I choose is good. Why can't I think of his name? He is from. I just want to talk about his life. Kanata, and I thought I knew his fucking name. Kanata from Astro Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Boy,
dude, I would love
to talk to him.
I just put up Astro Lost in Space too. That's crazy.
Yeah, but because he would be able to talk about the whole experience, right?
Yes.
So to me, I would love to talk about that experience, and then just like, okay, well, I mean, now that everything is good and y'all done traveled back into space and stuff, how's life been going? You know, like, you know, what's your favorite anime, bro?
Yeah, I'm thinking, give me Hyrule Hero, bro, from Grimgar Fantasy and Ash.
Mm-hmm.
His inner monologue in Grimgar is some of the best. Obviously, he's been through a lot. I want to know how is his mental, you know?
How's he holding up?
Yeah, you know. God, I wish the anime was still going, man. Good question, man. Those are really good questions. We got Scuba Steve. Scuba Steve says, what do you say? Something ridiculous. A question I think we already answered before, but he said, feels good to be back. What Western comic as an anime would like to see? I think we answered this already.
We but let's just throw another one out there.
All right. He said we can't use Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
He would say my favorite superhero, but he won't say yours. He wouldn't say Iron Man.
I'm not gonna do Iron Man though.
But he did say Spider-Man.
You gotta understand, Spider-Man is also my second favorite hero.
Did me dirty.
I'm choosing Sonic the Hedgehog.
Still so weird to me. It's just such a huge. You've always been such a huge fan of Sonic, and I never understood it.
Have you ever seen Scourge the Hedgehog, bro?
Nah, I've never been interested.
The Green Menace? Come on, man.
The only Sonic thing I was ever interested in was Sonic Adventures for the Chows, bro. Chaos.
That was amazing. They literally should have just made that game a separate game.
Yes, that was the best part. Other than that, Sonic was super below average. Comic. I'll take I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not really a big Western comic guy, to be honest.
You been watching Invincible?
No, I have not. I'm waiting until it's done.
Yeah, I can see that. It's kind of
just like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm waiting until it's done too. I seen the first episode of that, but
yeah, I watched the first episode of that too. I don't know. Everybody hyping up Bucky, and I'm just not. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I've never been a Bucky fan.
No,
like I just never have.
Me either. He's never been special in any comic.
I saw that clip when the Wakandan soldiers took his arm off.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, bro, go ahead and hold that L. Them women are way too strong.
Yeah, he crazy. He crazy if he thought he was gonna do something more. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have too many Western comics under my belt. I guess the Venom.
I was gonna say you can do Venom and Carnage.
Yeah, Venom and Carnage will be my go-to. I feel like that's cheating because they kind of revolve around the Spider-Man realm too. But fuck it, I'm a cheat.
Venom just killed the King in Black and became the strongest Marvel hero ever. So you did.
Okay, cool. I guess. Okay. Got a lot of.
I know we had some pandas.
We got a lot of more questions actually.
Let's go.
Shanti says, "What's an anime?" Oh, let me properly give her shout out. It's me, Shanti. Shout out to Shanti, she's awesome. What's an anime that was so trash that you turned it off during the first episode and never looked back? That's another great question.
The issue is I know there's a lot.
Really? For me, that's hard for me to do. Because I always like to give stuff more than one chance. You know, like a fucking 150 some episodes of Fairy Tail, 130 some episodes of Black Clover. Fucking, I don't know. What else trash did I watch? I watched a lot of trash. Just a Plunderer. I watched like 7 episodes of that. That shit was awful.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
I guess that would be it. Plunderers.
Gigabit for me. Gigabit. Whatever that shit is called that Abe watched all of it. He's fucking weird. That.
The Netflix thing? No. The one that was really bad.
The Crunchyroll exclusive joint.
Gibeat?
Yep, Gigabit, some shit like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I turned that shit, after that first episode, I'm like, yeah, never, ever watching that shit again.
I remember you talking about that as how.
That shit was awful.
Would have been Inuyasha if it didn't come on every night as a kid.
True. We ain't have a choice but to watch that shit. Not a goddamn choice. And Inuyasha's awful. Kid the Pro from Chaotic Culture Podcast. Shout out to them. We appreciate you. Wrote in and said, "What's an unpopular or overhated anime that you actually enjoyed?" Shout out to Aaron Brown. When this question came up, I thought about him because he loves Fairy Tail. That's my boy. He knows it's hated, but he loves it. Darling in the Franxx. Um, it's something I enjoy, but it is definitely overhated. It's terrible. It's a terrible show. I enjoyed it just for 02. But it's an awful show. That show is so bad.
02 is also the most mature character in that show.
Facts. She made the most logical sense. Yeah.
What show do I like that motherfuckers don't like?
I think for some reason, now this is a very popular show, so this I guess doesn't qualify for this question, but I feel like Naruto gets so much fucking hate.
That's because it's so mainstream. Anything mainstream gets hate.
That's true. Good point.
Anything mainstream gets hate.
I know there's a lot more hate for it though than most.
Yeah. I don't understand why. I can understand why you would hate Naruto because of Boruto. Like, he shouldn't have never made that kid. I'm just joking.
I'm with that.
Oh man, that was me. I don't know. I got Goblin Slayer maybe.
Does that get? No, that has a huge fan base though.
I've heard quite a few people say Goblin Slayer was bad.
It is bad.
They were just saying it was bad on Anime After Dark with Anime Podcast and Worst Gen Podcast.
It's not good, but
I enjoyed it because of the references to Dungeons and Dragons.
That's right. That's right. We talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this. That show is awful though. I'm so sorry.
No, I get it. I enjoyed it, except for the rapey bits.
It has no qualifying, like, redeeming qualities to it at all.
I would watch it a second time.
You're the worst.
Third time.
All right. Well, let's get to another question before I shut off the podcast. This question comes from Panda herself. She says, she has a lot of questions, of course, as always. If you could have any ability in anime, what would it be?
If I could have any ability in anime, I would have Itoshura from Shiver of a Fell Knight, where basically he sacrifices his senses and strength to gain speed, power, whatever he needs at that moment.
Mm-hmm. What is the healthiest anime couple and the most toxic anime couple? Healthiest anime couple for me is fuck, why can't I think of any of their names right now? And it's my favorite anime, one of my favorite anime of all time. From Clannad, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. Tomoya and Nazuka. Not Nazuka. Of course, that's the healthiest relationship. Their love was pure, and I enjoyed that. And the most toxic relationship?
My most pure relationship would be Hachimon, Yukino, and Yui.
No way you would call that pure. No way you can call that pure. That's not fucking pure. Ain't nothing
they love
pure.
Each other.
Ain't nothing
All
pure
three
about
of
it.
them loved each other.
It's not pure though. That's toxic.
Well, that wasn't toxic.
It was
They
toxic
loved
as
each
hell.
other.
It was so
They
fucking
just understanding. Nah, bro.
No.
I ain't doing that.
The entire show was based off that. No, the entire show was based off the toxicity of that relationship, of that dynamic, of that friendship becoming more than friends, in a sense where they both don't know what to do because they both love each. It's so toxic.
I don't know very many healthy relationships in anime, so that's the most pure one that I know. You're gonna let me have this shit. That's the one.
That is wow. That is rough because that's not pure.
It's Chowder and his girlfriend, or the one that he says you're not my girlfriend.
Bro, you watched Your Lie in April. You read Mission Yosakura Family.
That, first of all, what?
You didn't watch that.
Your Lie in April?
Yeah.
No, she gave him too much trauma.
You seen Your Name? You watched Your Name.
Nope. I like this one better.
Interesting.
I like Hachimon more than Hachimon's one of my favorite.
He's one of the best
characters.
He's one of the best characters in any anime ever. I know this, but that relationship was not pure. Nothing about it was pure.
Love is pure.
Yeah.
Love is pure. All right. What's the most toxic relationship in anime then, Polo?
That one. That is one of the most toxic. Yeah, it is. It is, bro. It is totally.
No. Toxic is like Kaguya-sama Love is War.
That's not toxic.
Are you what?
That's very toxic. That's very toxic. That's one of the most toxic relationships ever.
What are you saying? They literally don't want to tell each other that they like each other for pure sport, basically.
Yeah, that's just torture. That's fucking beyond toxic. It's torture.
It would be Inuyasha and Kagome.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Sit boy, come on, bro. Don't you ever. You about to catch this Iron Reaper Soul Stealer.
Hey, I'm 150 years old. You 14. You telling me to sit? All right. Better get your ass up out of here. Okay. Let's get out of this question.
That's wild.
What an anime that scared the shit out of you, or at least giving you chills. Anime that scared you, or at least giving you chills. This is still
to this day, Paranoia Agent.
Yes, 100% Paranoia Agent is one of the most.
And a lot of it wasn't even like
it's the music,
anime.
It's was the like, scenes.
So like when they zoom in on them, and you get that angle that kind of like just give you chills. Yeah. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now.
That music too, bro. That music.
Yeah.
I will never forget that sound. Because I used to hear it in my sleep when it used to come on, like fucking.
And just seeing that bat, like Little Slugger's bat with the dent in it already.
I agree with this 100% dude. 100%.
And it's not even the worst like horror anime, but it's just one that sticks in your mind.
Yep, definitely. An anime character that gives you big panda energy.
Well, Panda is not a panda, so let me find out. Let me think here. An anime character that gives big panda energy.
I think she's talking about herself, right?
Yeah. It's got to be I would say Ram from ReZero. Not Ram.
100% Ram.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that was gold. You just put that one out of your ass and that worked.
Hey, no, I had to think about it because Ram will beat your ass
real well.
But
that's a good one, dude. Holy shit, that's a good one. That's funny. All right, that's real good. That's it. Okay. Abe says, "Let's cause chaos. Pick an anime power that you would like to wield. Nin, devil fruit, stand, etc. Be specific. Same to you, Polo."
So I'm choosing, like I said before, I'm choosing the stand, and it is going to be called. What are we gonna do this time? We're gonna call it Till I Die, because the stands are all based off of music, and it's gonna be that I can't actually. The closer I get to death, the stronger I get. So the more you hurt me, the stronger I actually get. It's gonna be called Till I Die.
Okay. I don't know.
So I win by default. I saw this question.
He said, now in the best 5 fight, which one would win with your chosen abilities? He would.
Polo doesn't know. Hey, I'm sorry.
I don't fucking know, bro. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I win.
I don't know, man.
He tried.
I don't know. That's it for the questions. I think it's my turn to get to know my check waifu, right?
Let's do it. Random number generator. What is it? Was it 80 something left?
Oh yeah, I read last week, but last week didn't ever happen, so. All right. This is the part where we get to know Mic Check Waifu, where one of us rolls a random number generator and we read the question associated with that number. Tell what you got for me.
Well, how many questions is it?
Oh, sorry. 82, 83.
I thought it was 83. 64.
If you can go back in time and change one thing, what would it be?
If I go back in time and change one thing, I think I would not go to college. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. If I could go back in time and change one thing, it'll be shit, man. Everything that's been done to me actually helped me a lot, except for most recent stuff. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
Yes.
I would have played football. Like,
you'd have been a bomb ass like running back.
I know. I would have went further with football. I didn't take it seriously at all when I was younger. I wish I would have. All right.
I like that. Polo on the football team.
We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk Attack on Titan's final chapter again. Our thoughts, our overall thoughts on the series in general. We also going to talk spoilers for Tokyo Revengers and My Hero Academia. The last 2 episodes. We'll be right back right after this.
And I got way too many feels, way too much emotion. I don't even know what's real. I just say fuck it, keep on going. And I get deeper. Yeah, I feel I'm rolling. I can see you, yeah, I see you. I don't know, I think I'm rolling. Yeah, it's way too many feels, way too much emotion. I don't even know what's real. I just say fuck it, keep on going. I get deeper. Yeah, I think I'm rolling. I can see you, yeah, I see you. I don't know, I just keep going. Way too many feels, way too much emotion. Out of sense inside my body. I say fuck it, keep on going. You can bring it just so much. Yeah, you mix it, pot of potion. I don't know who you are, but I dive into your ocean. Yeah, say you smoking grams, I'm smoking into the gummies. Say you got the mice, but all I see is candy. The same body jumping because it's like that. You see all these chicks and now your girl ain't even right back. You drink on my own and you know what to do. Someone dropped the ball. Don't believe it, I guess. You know I got like way too many fast, way too much emotion for no how to make you fair. But I'm sorry, but you know I just dropped out and I broke soul. Don't know why you been true. Now I'm searching for you. Yeah, come right back and I got way too many fears. Way too many fears. Way too many fears. Way too many fears.
And welcome back to episode 96, the redo of episode 96. Brought to you by Don'tTalkShop.com, Patreon.com/MyCheckWaifu, and LudeComplex.com. We are back to discuss some spoilers. Spoilers being for My Hero, Vivy, Tokyo Revengers, and the final chapter of Attack on Titan. Now, maybe you are on to something. Maybe we should start off with something else and then end on Attack on Titan.
Yeah, because
yeah, you're right. Good point. Let's start off with. Can we start off with Vivy then?
Please, let's start off with Vivy.
Okay, talk to me about Vivy. Vivy is one of the ones that we are super bullish on because it came from the writers of ReZero. The studio that is animating it is Wit Studio, and Till has a piece of paper in his hand, so I'm extremely curious as to what the fuck is going on here.
I would like to say that the sound design for Vivy is currently in my book. It's like I'm saying in my mind it's a 10, but it's very hard. And the only reason I say this right now, and it could be like not that good. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I loved the voice acting in this episode specifically.
Fire.
When she got corrupted by the virus.
Ooh.
And you hear like the voice stuttering and they put in like the filter over it to make it sound like a robot. Was like, I was like, what?
Yes, sir.
Like,
that was special.
Go.
Not only that, the animation, bro. Wit is quickly becoming one of my favorite fucking studios because I love the way they fucking differentiate like the human texture to the AI texture when it comes to like that part of it. But not only that, the fucking fight, man, was some of the smoothest shit I've seen since JJK.
Yeah, it was good. The angles were on point.
On point, man. On point. You know I was gonna go there next. Them angles was crazy.
Yeah, that was a surprise because they did some fighting in the previous episode.
Yeah, but she didn't have that combat download last time.
Yeah. Well, she had, it wasn't that one. She had like a weaker one, like not this good one. This one, you know, you can see like she was like she had electricity flowing from her body, and she was like she had the hands ready, and she goes in and she's like throwing punches and she like moving and weaving and she do the slide dive and I'm just like, what,
bro?
Vivy,
crazy! It's so good.
Man.
I love how they don't give a fuck about bodying people or AI like almost instantly.
I do find it interesting though, like, because the perspective of the AI, right? Like, we knew, and they told us this in the previous episode, that like Estella, that she was a twin AI. We knew that, and it was like, I feel stupid for not putting it together that
the twin was the one.
The twin was the one doing it, right?
Yep.
And that really should have been something that like we put together because we know that they're trying to solve the problems and everything. But I do like kind of like how they delivered it, where like the AI, even though she is an AI, her feelings about being rejected and left were serious. Like those are real feelings that an AI felt. And that she was given a mission and she accepted that mission because that's all AI knows. That they have their own minds and they can make their own reasoning, but her mission was to serve him, and that's what she went through with. And I could be mad at that. It felt like she wasn't necessarily doing the wrong thing, even though that's what she was told to do.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just kind of loved it. It was just, it felt almost like I don't know, like I almost felt for her in that scenario.
We also have to keep in perspective that it's 15 years further than where it was 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like they're going to span 100-year span essentially, but in pieces, they're going to try to do the events, try to prevent the events from previous, moments in history. Previous moments in history that led up to the event of 100 years in the future where the AIs killed all the humans. Now, understanding that, you can quickly see how fast these AI are evolving. Just in that 15-year span, you got the twins, Estella and Elizabeth,
which are actually supposed to be like her little sisters,
right? And then all the AI that was also on board that vessel, and the terrorists. Their method is to get them to denounce AIs, right? It's so fucking crazy to me to think about how this is playing out, because with Vivy stopping them from doing all these things that they're stopping the terrorists from essentially turning the world against the AIs, is going to prevent the AIs from killing the humans. That's such a weird concept to think about. Like, what the terrorist is doing is essentially trying to prevent what's going to happen 100 years from now. But because they do that, it actually caused what happens 100 years from now. So
but that's cause and effect. That's how some things happen, right? Like if the only way they could have stopped this is if they had never created AI in the first place, right?
Right.
But because they're trying to limit the AI in such a capacity, it basically puts the AI in a position where they have to defend themselves. And one of the classic things that we always see in most of these like scenarios is that AI deem humans dangerous to themselves. Yep. So what do? They subdue them. And that's how we get to this point. So like, yeah, go ahead.
It's a fucking weird situation when you think about it, man, because you got to think like what the terrorist is doing is essentially the right thing you would think. That's why I'm a little, and then again, taking into consideration that the writer of fucking ReZero is writing this shit, I'm kind of thinking what that...
They gonna trick us at the end.
Yep. What the support AI is really doing is helping this come to fruition, because the terrorist actually stops that from happening. I don't know. That's just my prediction.
I don't think you're wrong for thinking that, because the terrorist, the support AI is very suspect.
Very.
It's been suspect since episode 1, and I love how, and I think that Vivy's done the right thing, even though like, because the AI is just saying straight up do this, right? Like there's no interference, no second thought, just
no way around
this.
It. Yep.
And Vivy is like, no, we need to find alternative methods, right? Because they just wanted to kill Estella right off the bat. If they had done that, the whole thing would have still happened.
It would have happened probably even more so, because then they wouldn't have Estella to actually burn up the ship in the atmosphere.
Or stop Elizabeth.
Yep. So, it's such a good fucking show, man.
This is why we like good writing, because you never know with all the different layers they add on. And this is going to go over so many people's heads.
100%.
This is going to be one of the series like Asher Lost in Space, where it came out of nowhere, it was too good, and no one paid attention to it.
Yeah, what kills me is that looking on our timeline and seeing people, our guy of all people, our homie, essentially not like, I don't know if he not like it or like it. The ReZero discussion that kind of had me. I had to like
who
Mirror. Strike his name right. He's saying that ReZero was too much going on, essentially.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shay Narrow.
Yeah.
Shaq. Yeah, I get it. It's Shay Narrow.
Oh, Shay Narrow. Okay, yeah.
I get it though. You know, I get why people feel that way, but I don't agree with that in any way, because I love the show. I love the show in its entirety, and I feel like I feel like once you get past the first episode, everything just makes more and more sense, and then they hit you with stuff that it all pans out or develops more.
Yes,
and I'm not a fan. The only thing I would say I don't understand is the people who hate Subaru. Like, how do you dislike Subaru? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that gets to me too. He's one of the best characters too of all time. Probably 2 or 3, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Like, he's so good.
Probably 2 or 3, and he's not 3.
Oh man, yeah, that was tough. But Vivy is real good. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yes.
Didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much until I figured out who was writing it, to be honest.
Well, it's hard to know sometimes, but we know we like that writing style.
Yeah, and after that first episode, I had to figure out who. Once I figured out who, I was like, fucking makes sense. Because I was enthralled. Good writing is important.
So we jumped on Tokyo Revengers?
Yes.
All right. Talk about good writing. Yes.
This one was super interesting too. For those of you who aren't aware of Tokyo Revengers, it's essentially Erased but different.
Yeah. More control.
Yeah, way more control.
The second episode, it makes me feel like I know our dude's gonna get beat up again.
Yeah,
100%. Catch hands again. But I also think that he is done playing games, right? Like,
yes.
He's finally tired of the bullshit. And I love that energy. I love it. Like, he's like, all right, I know that I'm a kid, but I have all this knowledge. I have to figure out how to make this shit shake. I have to figure out how to make sure that what the hell is her name? Hana.
Yep.
Doesn't die.
Or Hina,
yeah. You got to make sure she doesn't die. So what do I do to prevent this? And Naoto, love him.
Yep.
He right off the bat, look, it's been 12 years. We're going to make sure you don't get this messed up. We're going to make sure this is working right. And I like that.
Putting all that information in him.
The character planned ever since he was a minor. Come on, man.
Yeah.
God tier.
Yeah, it super interesting. What I didn't like about it was the 4-minute start of recap, basically. I hated that. That pissed me off.
I agree.
Because
we didn't need to recap. Yeah,
we didn't need to recap. It was one episode. It literally, I looked at the time as soon as it was over. It was 4 minutes long. What didn't need to be. Definitely didn't need to be. So that part got to me a little bit, because then that means that the episode was going to be cut short, which obviously it was. And it cut short at a very opportune time. But like you said, he got his ass beat these first 2 episodes just to, now I feel like it's going to become what we think he's going to become. And that's somebody who's using his future knowledge as essentially a power to help save lives, hopefully. Now, what I don't understand is when you look at the art, now it's not 100% like that, per se, the sign, but it looks a lot like the Nazi symbol on the manga cover. So I wonder if he's like is going to start a gang that is to save people. You know what I mean? Now,
yeah. Now I think but the Tokyo Revengers, that swastika in general
it's the way it is turned, but
yeah, the swastika is
not exactly that.
Was a sign of peace.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be a good sign.
Yeah,
actually,
remember that one from history class.
Yeah, but you know how that works out is like
it just still looks
because of how
wrong.
We know the history is, right?
Yeah.
History makes us know that it's gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt and look at this like they're gonna try and do the right thing here.
Yeah, 100%. I like the little outfits too in the
the like colorway is smooth.
Yeah. All I know is I'm looking forward to this fucking show continuing. This is another great one that quickly grew to the top of my list for this season of anime for sure. I'm
willing to bet they don't even put that swastika in the anime.
Guarantee it. It's just too similar. And again, I know it's not the same. I know personally, but it just looked too similar, so they're definitely not going to do that in anime. It's probably going to be a different symbol for sure.
Yeah, because you can see they got the black suits on, and they already like got like letters on them instead of like the red on them.
Yep, which is cool. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, let's talk about My Hero. So last week, on the OG 96, I talked about how I hated this episode, and not because of the episode being bad. It's just because the way My Hero do shit when it comes to introducing characters, which they still did in this one. But I'm gonna talk about the previous one before that. I hated the previous one before this one because they spent 16 minutes of the show talking about the vestiges. I'm talking about episode 2. They spent 15 minutes talking about that, and then they spent the rest of it introducing Class B. They literally said every Class B fucking person's name and their quirk, which is fucking annoying. I hate when they do that shit because they literally fluff the episode. Fluffing episodes irritates me more than anything. Because I had the idea, like, if you're gonna do this during the fight, which they still end up fucking doing anyway. Like, they still end up telling us what Beast quirk is. They still end up telling us what the other guy's quirk was, the scale dude. Like, you already did that the previous episode, but you're gonna do it again. So you might as well have done this instead of the fucking introduction to Class B, which fucking annoyed the shit out of me. But this episode was great. I love the way it played out. This most recent one, that is, not the one before this one. I hated the one before this.
So this episode is one of those things where I was talking about how like the manga delivery was entirely different, right? And the reason this episode to me, there were parts of this episode I really liked, parts of the episode I didn't like. In the manga, they didn't do the whole recap of the powers thing. But what they didn't do in the manga is kind of show every bit of how the battle went down. You know, like, yeah, they had to go find Shinzo in the building, hiding behind the pipes and everything, using the pipes to echo. They didn't really explain that as well as like how they did it in the manga, where they were showing like a little bit more details of Beast like trying to find them and couldn't find them, which I'm cool with that. But I also really liked how they showed them pulling the pipe down, hitting him over the head, and the whole like setup was just better in the manga because they were able to add that extra detail. So this is actually one of those chapters I would say like in the manga probably wasn't as good because it didn't have the extra detail that the anime has.
Interesting. Yeah, this episode was fire. I love Atsui, dude. She's so fucking good. She's so good.
Yeah. I mean, she's dope.
She's like one of my favorite heroes in this entire show.
I mean, I think it's reasonable. Most people feel that same way, bro.
She's so fucking good. Like, she's so quick on her feet, smart. Like, I just enjoy her character. She's been like that since the fucking beginning too, and that's what I love too. The consistency with her character is awesome.
It also shows like the deviation between some characters, right? Like some characters are taking this super serious, like how Shinzo was like, I'm 12 steps behind you already. Like, I'm dozens. He didn't say 12. I'm like dozens of steps behind y'all. But to them, like, he's taking this so serious that like to them, they're like, you're not that far behind, you know, if at all. And to think about it, with his quirk, it is super hard to use when everyone already knows what it is. You know, everybody knows what his quirk is, and yet he can still make people panic with it. Like, I thought about the versatility of it, right? He used the quirk in there to make dude think that he was talking. And once he like heard the dude, his actual ally, talking from behind him, he was like, oh yeah, I won't speak or respond to that. Like, he's trying to trick me. And no, you really need to respond sometimes, bro. Like, you can't rely on communication anymore when you have somebody like that around. And you think about that, how vital communication can be.
It's the most vital.
It's ridiculous. Like, he literally cut off all communication. And to me, that was just amazing.
That's
like,
what helped him win that fight.
it was so subtle. It wasn't a huge thing. Just the fact that you can't talk to your teammates is ridiculous.
Yo, and that I love watching Midoriya's like thought process when he was watching it too. How he felt about it. Like, yeah, no, he's like, they might win this, and I can't. I hope that this continues at this pace to where they go to the next fight, and then it's the whole fight of the episode. Like, keep this pace up, please, please. I want to love my hero. I just like it.
There's gonna be one episode that's gonna be super fast based off how it was in the manga, because in the manga there's an episode of a fight that was like, it's over. I was like, damn. Okay.
Because A was better or B was better or whatever.
I don't really want to tell it, but you know,
I got you.
There's some people on the show who just can't take it easy.
It's probably Bakugo. Who knows though? Who knows? All right, let's go to was it Attack on Titan? Yeah,
let's do that. All right, so we've done this once before.
Yes,
where we gave our opinions on the final chapter of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I guess since we had a little bit of time for it to settle, how do you feel?
So, like I think I said before, I'm not so bothered by the end of Attack on Titan. What bothers me the most is how they were received by the world. You know, I think Eren did what was necessary. I don't understand really why it was in Mikasa's hands, like why Mikasa was the one that Ymir was looking after or looking for.
Yeah, to do this.
Yeah, but I do get, like, you know, Eren, he saw the present, the past, and the future, right? Like, that's just what the powers, you know, allowed him to do. And he made the decision to kind of like align the world, right? So he knew what the outcome was going to be, right? He knew that he wasn't going to be alive anymore. He knew what was going to happen, but it still bothers me strongly that, you know, the world, like, what I personally thought would have been dope is if instead of entirely getting rid of, let's say, and I mean, yeah, get rid of the Titan powers, but I would say instead of getting rid of them entirely, just make it so, like, if there are still Titans, that each country or continent can only have one Titan. Something like, I don't know. I don't really know how to justify it so, like, the world could be not so threatened by each other. But he eliminated 80% of the world.
Yeah, 80% of the globe was gone after the rumbling. What he did was
he didn't delete the military powers, which is, I guess, the worst part of it.
They've already done that though, when they essentially saved Eren, because the Marlians had the biggest military that there was, right? Like, they had a million some soldiers or whatever they said. Regardless, I think him getting rid of the Titans was the best part about the whole fucking thing. Shit, because that was the ultimate goal. He said that from episode 1 that he's going to get rid of them all. He's going to kill them all. And that's cool, but
I love that too.
Yeah, I love that too. But my problem with this, and this is just a personal thing for me, and I said this last time we talked about this, I just don't care. I didn't get emotional, not once reading this, or even watching the show. I guess the only time I did get emotional was during Erwin's speech. But I think it's because of the way I watched it too. There were so many gaps between seasons of Attack on Titan that I forgot a lot about a lot of people, about a lot of what happened. But then when I became consistent again, this final season, and then went straight to reading it, I still just didn't give a fuck. I don't care about the characters of Attack on Titan, period.
Yeah.
Nobody. But I do love the story. I like the story a lot. Like, I couldn't find myself caring at the very, very end. Like, the time skip, I think, was probably the worst part about the end. Because I feel like they could have done more with that, but it still wasn't bad for me. I just, again, me personally, just don't care about the characters of Attack on Titan. Now, what does the show do for me as far as its great ability? It's a great show. It will forever be a great show, great manga, great series because the story is fantastic. It really is. But it used to either be in my top 10 or on the cusp of my top 10. It's no longer there. I just don't like it as much as I thought. It's cool. Love the story.
I mean,
it was just cool.
That makes sense. I can get behind that because like I do believe that after it finished, and I don't understand why people are still putting like the comparison between that and Full Metal Alchemist together.
No,
but I will say yes, I get why it might be someone's top 10, and I even get why totally Eren Yeager may be in your top 5, right? Because Eren Yeager, I think, is an amazing character with his development from the beginning to end. And I loved seeing his like vulnerability in the end, that he still was a vulnerable teenager who never got to experience many of the things that he wanted to experience. He wanted his freedom, and he never got to really, he had to experience freedom in a different manner.
Right.
He had to experience freedom in the terms of like, I have to do what I have to do to, make my people free.
Yeah.
And
that's part of the story I love.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that as a character. And I think Eren is, like I said, by far one of the reasons that I enjoy the show so much, and why Eren's one of the only reasons I didn't want the show to end, but knew he had to be the catalyst for the show to end. Because we grew with that dude. But
definitely.
It's never going to be in my top 10.
No, it's again a great show. I get why people love it. Not my favorite. Yeah. And the ending was, I'm glad it ended the way it did. Like it was closure, and I felt good about that. But I guarantee you, I'm gonna forget about this whole thing until it's time to watch it, and then I'm probably not even gonna watch it because I already read it. But I might have to watch it because I have this podcast. So
yeah, we might as well go ahead and rate it if it's available.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not a lot of people gonna like that take. I don't care. But
I think a lot of people gonna rock with us on that.
No, they won't. Because not me. Because they just love this show so much.
I don't know.
Or bro. This anime or this series. I gotta remember it's not the show. It's the manga.
Like I said, I love Eren Yeager. The rest of that shit is mad decent.
It's just mad decent, man. It's just mad decent. That's a good explanation.
Armin was not the best of the three.
No. And Mikasa was dry as hell too to me.
Yeah, she did. She got, I guess, drier towards the end. It was like,
what the fuck was that about?
I mean, I guess it was. I mean, I guess we could also think about the depression setting in, that kind of stuff, and having to come to the realization. But Mikasa was always kind of like not super vocal in the first place, but she did have different like levels of happiness, right? And she kind of returned to that a little bit at the end, like where she was at Eren's grave. She had a little smile going on, but it wasn't like she didn't really like evolve as a character
at all. At all. It was all just dry. She was super dry. All right, let's wrap this thing up.
All right. So, as y'all know, we just finished talking about Attack on Titan and its ending. We've obviously talked about this before, but shows, episodes get deleted. My Hero Academia. Polo really liked this episode. I appreciate that. Are you, Polo?
Real good.
Tokyo Revengers, we both loving that. Goodness gracious, that show's a banger. Vivy, with studios that back at it again. Great writer. This is one of those sleepers.
Yes, sir.
We also got to know Mic Check Waifu. What was that? What was your
going back?
If you had to go back in time, what would you redo or undo? Also, I read Way of a House Husband, loved it. We also talked about Overgeared, had some great questions from Twitter. Polo, what was that called? Nagatiro?
Yes.
Yeah, Nagatiro. Don't watch it or watch it. I don't know. Polo, what's your word on that one?
I'm gonna watch it, but I don't know why I'm watching it.
We also had some great questions like what's the most over/underrated anime. We also talked about Seven Nights and why is it receiving all the hate it is. We don't know why. Haja Hero Polo watched that and he's liking
Loving it.
Yeah, I'm watching Shadow's House, Slice of Life, supernatural horror series. We're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully, Polo pick it up. And then Eden Zero, I gotta pick that up because I know I'm not gonna like it, but I'm gonna do it.
Please do.
Because you gotta watch something even if it's bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But also, once again, we are sorry for the redo. We missed last week. It's our first time. We ain't missing again.
Ever.
Mic check. Waifu is back to show y'all all the love that we always do. And that has been episode 96 redo.
I am at Polo Born Fly on all social media.
I'm at King Telliano on all social media. You
can follow our social medias at Mic Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mic Check Waifu on Instagram. And as always, Mic Check.
It's like that echo got cleaner too, bro. It's like that echo is clean as fuck. Look at you.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu.